Thanks, Legend. That makes me feel much worse now. Thank you. I wanted to leave it vague. Clearly, you didn't get the message.
What you think about when you're born into a fire? Let them burn it out. Sell them to the richest buyer. They wanna let the world decay. They tell us lies and fade away, fade away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. Listen up now, because we're never dropping out. Beat the odds, beat the big house. The brains are bigger than the doubt. We've been thinking for ourselves, never let the truth fade away. This is bigger than ourselves, we won't let the world burn away, burn away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. To blame, haters face the world's mistakes. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. And we feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race.
Dude, the country's cooked. I'm thinking about just leaving. It's cooked. It's fucking cooked, dude. I had someone argue with me today that the left is really the cults. So I sent him this video I'm going to play in a second for you guys. And I was like, tell me where the Obama mega store is. Tell me where the Biden Mart is located. What about the Kamala Harris shopping center? No? None of those? Weird.
Hey daddies, it's me, the Linda Binda from TikTok. I wanted to make this video because I wanted to thank you for watching Cold Beer Confessionals with Will Bird. I think that's just incredible. I've watched a few episodes and I'm just like very intrigued. But you know what I'm most intrigued in is Big Daddy's meat stick. I heard that it's very thick, like a good old German sausage. You know, Linda and her coochie loves that. Oh, never mind. Let's not go there. Anyways, I hope you have a good show and enjoy it as you can. There's a lot of weird things that go on, especially when it comes from the realm of Linda Bindaland. So, enjoy the show. Thanks for watching.
Peace out to Linda Binda. Thank you guys for joining us. This is the Burt Lynch Show. I watch the news so you don't have to. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. If you want to support me, you can do that at buymeacoffee.com/coldbeer, where you can buy a 6-pack. Yeah, it's not like Trump merchandising things is clearly an issue. Like his coins, his shoes, that's a separate issue. These are members of the cults who have started stores selling Chinese-made products with Trump doesn't even get a cut of this. It doesn't go to the campaign. It isn't him. It isn't him merchandising his name. It's other cult members that buy in bulk from China and set up store. Just watch this video. Me and Mariah stopped at one of these on vacation. I think we took some pictures or something. I can't remember. But here, check this out. I feel for this guy. So this guy that does the video, he hasn't lived in the U.S. for a couple years. He's been living abroad. Even though he's a U.S. citizen, he's been living abroad, and he came back home to this.
Is inside of a Trump store. My name is Evan Ettinger, and I left the U.S. about 13 years ago, so I'm curious to see how the country has changed in the last 13 years.
So could you imagine leaving the country 13 years ago and coming back to the country now? Obviously, you see stuff on news, you hear people talk about it, but leaving the country 13 years ago and then coming back today. So you left in 2012, and you come back in 2025. No fucking way, dude. It's
what
cooked.
Exactly is inside of a Trump store? My name is Evan Ettinger, and I left the U.S. about 13 years ago, so I'm curious to see how the country has changed in the last...
To be clear, I think that Trump shouldn't be merchandising his name, selling his meme coin. None of that. All that's bad. He shouldn't be doing that. It's a whole nother level when another person starts a store in your name because there's enough business and transactions around that, people who worship you, that just want to come buy stuff with your name on it. That's crazy, dude. Crazy. I would think it was a little cringy if it was like a USA store or a Patriot store or something like that, right? Or a Taylor Swift store. The fact that it's Donald Trump, it blows my fucking mind.
Last 13 years seems quite a lot. We're going to head into this place and see what exactly they've got on for sale and what it's saying about America in general. Oh boy.
Though I had no idea just what was in store for me within the Trump store, one thing I did know before walking in, Tennessee is an open carry state, meaning there's...
Of course it's in Tennessee. The one that me and Mariah went to, where were we at? I don't think we were... Oh, yeah, we were. We were down near Gatlinburg.
a high chance someone in the store would have a gun on them. So my first plan of action as I was filming this was to immediately blend in like I was one of them.
Hello.
Pausing here, you might think Trump and MAGA socks are a bit unhinged, but this is only the merch that's right by the entrance. This is incredibly tame compared to some of the merch in the back of the store. Hairy Trump caps, Trump beanies, socks, and bracelets are pretty par for the course. The Trump teddy was a nice touch, but I have no...
It's not even that the store exists. It's that that there's enough demand that someone wants to come in and buy this shit that the store can exist. Like, it's one thing to, like, if I go into, like, a local gun store here, they'll have Trump shit, right? Because they're right-wing gun, Second Amendment, blah, blah. This is entirely a Trump store. That's it.
No idea how deep into the cult you must be to consider buying Trump slippers, but I didn't want anyone to think I was here to make fun of them, so I figured maybe some feigned excitement and laughing at the talking Trump in the corner would do the trick. Wow. And when the other woman in the store laughed at something else the talking Trump said that wasn't funny, that confirmed it for me.
I'm so good at the military.
So he hit this little Trump doll thing on the head and it said, "I'm so good at the military."
I'm in. Just to really buy myself some time looking around, I figured I'd throw some interest in getting a small gift or something for my girlfriend.
There's a few here. They're Christmas. Well, Valentine's Day.
Let's make Christmas great again. Classic. And hey, copy-pasting Trump onto a Salt Bay themed card is...
And on top of that, Trump is like, people think it's owning the libs that the president of the United States posted an AI video of him in a fighter jet dropping shit on protesters. You know, the thing that's in the Constitution and protected.
pretty much as creative as I think these people are capable of.
Wow. What should I see? Let's make Christmas great again. All right, so we got big ones and we got small ones over
And we
here.
got the little ones here.
Thank you.
I think these are all Christmas here.
My girlfriend likes greetings cards all the time, so hopefully why not get her a nice one here?
Y'all remember that one time Trump got shot in the ear? Yeah, us too. Pick up some of your very own Trump-branded bandages. Make
ouchies great again.
ouchies great again. Lord have mercy. But at this point is when another customer asked a question I struggled not to react to.
Sorry? You have any Vance 28 merch yet? No, not quite. We have Trump 28.
Do you have any Vance 2028 merch yet? No, not quite. We have Trump 2028, and then I paused it too soon, but then he's going to say it's a little too early for the Vance stuff. But it's not too early for the Trump 2028 stuff?
Says I love America, like going against the Constitution and installing a dictator. But I guess that clocks with the rewrite the rules shirt that I saw on the window.
Vance 28, not quite. I think it's a little too early.
A little too early for the Vance
Some of the
28
smaller
stuff.
things for sale at this table before we move on to the more unhinged things towards the back of the shop. We've got Trump badges, Trump pins, Trump bobbleheads, and pencil toppers, an assortment of Trump bumper stickers, Trump pens, and Trump magnets. If they don't call them magnets instead of magnets, I'm actually going to be really angry. Well, I'm angry. They're just called Trump magnets. You missed a trick. I truly don't know who is out here buying Trump-themed rubber duckies, but as I heard the clerk ring up some other customers,
The Trump-themed ducks are 100% the right-wing Jeep people.
I noted just how much they were spending.
So we're looking at $100 and 95%.
Wow. Honestly, it really makes you think how much money China must be making manufacturing all of this. I think my cover is pretty solid at this point.
You guys remember going to the Barack Obama store?
So now I get to explore the rest of the store. I gotta say, there is a certain energy that these sorts of flags hanging on the walls exude. Flags with assault rifles on them, flags with a Punisher logo. It's like a hot topic for edgy teens that never mentally grew out of the 9th grade. Regardless of what the flag actually says, the message seems to be the same. It's meant to evoke some sort of fear. It's not necessarily meant to say, I'm in some sort of in-group, this is who I am. It's more, this is who I stand against. I was honestly surprised that I didn't see a Confederate flag for sale, especially considering I saw one proudly flying in National Park, New Jersey. The USA is so cooked. But hey, if the USA is cooked, let's at least make sure that we season it, right?
Rebel tears.
You got MAGA rib rub, Trump MAGA spices, Red Wave surf and turf seasoning. What exactly is in this bottle? Well, the website listing says, inspired by the energetic and dynamic spirit of the Red Wave movement, this seasoning captures the essence of American optimism and enthusiasm while delivering the burst of bold and savory taste. All yours for the bold and savory price of $19.95. Pay a 400% markup fee for a worse Old Bay seasoning just to stick it to those lips. Grab yourself some MAGA rib rub. It's a shame because it genuinely feels like they're trying to be caricatures of themselves, and they don't have any sort of awareness of it at all.
I think it's too late for these people.
And of course, no Trump store is complete
He whispered, I think it's too late for these people.
without a hat collection featuring the classic fascist red.
Standard. Deflated.
Or maybe a bedazzled edition.
Bedazzled.
Feast your eyes on the selection.
That.
You've even got the new Trump 2028 hat. Get it while it's hot. And yes, we've got every Trump-related shirt you could ever want. Alligator Alcatraz? Yeah, that little experiment that was tried and failed. Well, now you can wear that shirt with pride, whatever that pride is in. But you don't just have to buy one of these for you or your partner. Let's let your kid join in on the fun. I heard Trump loves kids. You can get a onesie to show that your baby also supports a man who frequented Epstein Island. There really is no bar low enough. As I approached the counter, the large stack of Trump rubber duckies caught my eye next to all the fake money and poker chips. But the piece de resistance, a commemorative bullet, just like the one that glazed Trump's ear. Signed by the man himself. I mean, it must be at that price. Nothing says devotion like spending $30 on a mass-produced bullet in a velvet box. And as an added bonus, let's have a read of the online listing for this beautiful treasured relic. This 45 to 47 caliber cartridge isn't just a piece of history, M-dash. It's a declaration of strength, resilience, and the MAGA movement's commitment to restoring America. For those of you that have seen my video on how to instantly spot AI writing, you already know all of this is completely AI generated, so buy yourself a bullet today. It's the grift that keeps on giving. But at this point, I think I was done with the Trump store, so I headed back to my car to attempt to process my experience and just said the first things that were coming to mind.
You know what, guys? Oops. I'm gonna be honest. That was actually genuinely scary. I felt like I just had to keep smiling and be like, oh, it's a cult. It's so fascinating to have experienced that, especially because there's some people just walked in and spent $100 and they got a free gift. I went in just to the curiosity. I saw a sign that said Trump store at the next exit and I went, no way. Yes way.
Fucking insane, dude.
I walked into that Trump store in Tennessee because I found the concept of a brick and mortar
welcome.
Trump store, a store dedicated to a politician who has so much, for better or for worse, about him, so fascinating. That not just that there can be merch that isn't even
Yeah, and he tried to say that he only ran these grifting ads not to be paid, but because it was for low income, underprivileged Trump MAGA kids who wanted to start or some weird shit. But then he tried to sell me ads on my burner account.
sold by the person himself that doesn't actually financially benefit from the merch about himself, but that it can create enough commercialism and consumerism in the American public that shops open up selling like stuff related to him. That to me is so freaking interesting that there are people out there that would be like, oh, absolutely, I will buy all of this mess just to signal to others that I'm in this group. I just couldn't believe that it was real, and I needed to go inside to be like, what is this? I just can't imagine. And now I don't have to imagine because I went inside. What the hell is going on in America? It just feels like buying a Titanic merch 5 minutes before impact. I had a couple friends who, up until last year, were quite big fans of Russell Brand. They watched his videos, they attended his retreats, and they always made sure to get pics with him at every event they went to. They were very involved and had being a member of Russell Brand's brand a big part of who they were. Being a part of that group helped define them in some way. It helped signal to others what they valued in their lives. But then when the Russell Brand news came out with that Channel 4 documentary, they reasonably took a break from social media. The message I sent them afterwards wasn't laughing, it wasn't a gotcha, it was a simple, I really hope you're okay. It's the same thing I'd want to say to every millennial that got a Harry Potter tattoo, which is on their skin always. Being a part of something bigger than yourself is a very powerful feeling, and feeling like you're in the in-group with your peers also goes a long way to feeling acceptance on a personal and community level, which acts as a feedback loop, reinforcing your beliefs the more you identify with the group, and the more the
It's 1000% occults. Like,
reflects that feeling and identity back at you. Buying shirts, hats, or flags signals your commitment to the group to others, while branded spice rubs and rubber ducks and commemorative bullets, that signals something deeper. I feel like this is what someone gets to signal to themselves that they're still committed to this group, especially at times when maybe they're experiencing a bit of doubt. But regardless, no matter how deeply someone is involved within an in-group like this, there always is, for each person, some sort of line in the sand where their commitment will waver. And the more deeply entrenched someone is within this sort of group, the further away that line in the sand may go, and the further they end up falling when they inevitably break free. I know as an outsider to the group of people who would think to buy things at the Trump store, your line in the sand was reasonably many years ago. But for people who have made this their identity, I honestly don't know how long it will take for them to reintegrate into society. And when they do try to reintegrate, they'll likely be met not with compassion, but with mockery.
The Channel 4 documentary he's talking about came out basically just showing how Russell Brand treats women.
Only pushes them back to where they came from. And I know, you might not want them to be back in society after everything that it feels like they've done. But the whole organization of politics and life in general, where we focus more on what makes us different to other groups within our big group as opposed to what brings us together, is a big reason why America is the way it is right now, in my opinion. I don't have any solutions. I don't even live in the same country right now. But this recent visit to America was the first time I truly felt myself a full-on outsider to the country I grew up in, and without the want for that feeling to change. Visiting the States in the recent past usually had me feeling like a tourist, whereas this time I felt more like a foreigner, just with a lot of knowledge of the space. This has to do with my identity as well. You know what I mean? Like, my identity is someone who was born and raised in this country is now attached to what this country is currently going through. Regardless of where I am, where I end up, where I live, where I call my home, my identity is also wrapped up in this whole situation. So as much as I can go, oh, well, I don't live there anymore, it's still part of me. No matter how far I move, that's like, it's part of my identity. You know what I mean? And that's sad. It is sad. And so going in was almost like crossing my fingers. Like, it can't be this far gone. And sadly, just coming to the conclusion that it's further gone than I expected.
It's wild to see, and then to have people argue and be like, the left is really the cult. Anyways, this is the Trump AI video he posted. Can't play the music because it's from Highway to the Danger Zone from Top Gun. But it's him as a king with his crown on, flying a fighter jet. And then he's dropping shit on protesters. Harry Sisson video and a bunch of protesters behind him. And he just drops shit on everybody. This is the president. This isn't like a meme page or something. This is the president posted this. This is just a protest video.
There are many who want America.
We don't like people being snatched off our streets, and we don't want to be a fascist country.
The total disregard for the Constitution is incredible.
I saw a clip of Bert saying that Atlanta was 60-70% black people, and there wasn't enough black people at the No Kings protests, probably because it was too close to the woods.
Now, and it's increasing every day, and that should concern everybody.
Donald Trump's Republican Party has dismissed the demonstrations as the Hate America rallies.
Things have gotten worse in our country. This is not a Hate America rally. This is a Love America rally.
Obviously somebody else made it. He just reposted it, but still it's not just some kid, right? It's the president of the United States posting this shit. And then every once in a while, Every once in a while, karma gives you a nice pat on the back, though.
WSNT_me just subscribe.
Oh, thank you for the subscription. I appreciate it. Every once in a while, karma's like, here's one for you, just to make you smile. All right, so first of all, I have to say this so I don't get in trouble, okay? I don't condone anybody stealing someone's sunglasses. But if you're a 70-year-old man out here screaming, go ICE and fuck liberals and blah, 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 and someone does steal your sunglasses, they're a lost cause, okay? Someone 1/4 your age stole your sunglasses, you're just going to have to let it go. They're his sunglasses now, okay?
Let's go! Ice! Let's go! Ice! God bless Trump! God bless Trump! God bless Trump!
So clearly they're to agitate, to get reactions. They keep turning back and going in people's faces and shit. Ah, there we go, with the F slur. Of course, instantly. That's where it always goes to. And then what? He pushes up his glasses once. We have this kid with a skateboard kind of in his face. Glasses gone. Now listen. You're too old to try to... This is common sense. I get it. He shouldn't have stole your glasses. He stole your property. He shouldn't have touched you. He shouldn't have stole your glasses. I can get on board with all of that. You're too old to try to chase an 18-year-old who just stole your glasses. Just take this footage, get footage, take a picture, go to the police, file a report. He shouldn't have done that. It's illegal. He shouldn't have done that. Do not chase him. What do you possibly think good is going to happen from chasing this kid? You're not going to catch him. You're outnumbered about 10-1 on this street. What do you think's going to happen? Well, we're about to find out. Oh. Couldn't even get his hands up, bro. Just rode his face meat into the fucking asphalt. Concrete. Boom. But he's still after it. I'm gonna stay off my lawn. Then he gets tripped. Legit tripped. Now his ass is hanging out. Some people are coming up to him like, stop, dude, you're bleeding. You landed on your face, you're bleeding. This person is just trying to say, stop, you need medical attention. Fuck, you don't, like, what are you trying to accomplish now? Now his buddy's going to try to put hands on people.
Get your buddy. Get your buddy.
Let's go us. Let's go. Remember the chants? Now he's just running into people and shoving everybody, right? He doesn't even know where the kid that got his glasses went. He's just shoving anybody within arm's reach. I cannot identify the city. I don't know where it was at.
See, Daddy, sinners have soul too.
Don't sell your soul to Trump and MAGA. God be watching. Yeah, let's go get some ice and put it on that fucking road rash. That's what we need to do. Let's go pick up some ice. That would work, sure. I don't know. I just thought it was funny he landed on his face. He still couldn't give up, right? He's gotta be the big tough MAGA guy. Insane, dude. What else do we want? Of course, all AI is always real. Don't forget about that. Boomers have no idea what AI is. Literally, this has the logo of the company that made the AI video. They have no idea.
What's your opinion on the ceasefire? Well, I'm just sad that it's over.
Anytime you see Sora, that's an AI video. That's what they do. But basically, the reporter is going to ask this liberal, "Hey, what do you think now that the war in Palestine is over?" And they're like, "I don't. How am I going to pay my bills now that I'm not getting paid to protest or some shit?" Right?
What's your opinion on the ceasefire? Well, I'm just sad that it's over. I just don't know how I'll pay rent without my protesting money. Like, do I need to find a job? Unfortunately, everybody, that is our future. Young 21-year-old boys and girls going out there and being paid to protest,
They don't know it's AI?
advocate for things they don't even understand.
Speaking of things that people don't understand, this little watermark here, Todd, means that this was artificially generated. What's that mean? It means it's not real. Our future, Todd, is boomers reposting AI slop, convinced that aliens are taking over the earth. Want to be even more bummed out? He's not the only one doing this.
What's your opinion on the ceasefire? Well, I'm
just spreading provable disinformation while pulling on some peppermint schnapps on a Thursday in October. What the fuck? Meanwhile,
actual right-wing agitators showed up as Antifa.
3 conservative agitators were chased out of a Portland protest, dressed in all black, posing as Antifa, and one of whom ended up being Proud Schnazi and Patriot Prayer founder Joey Gibson. Look at this Antifa member. This is incidentally not a new tactic. We
How weird.
all remember Hammer Guy, which ended up being a boogaloo white supremacist guy. Remember Jesse Waters pulling this shit? Point is, how do you explain to people like Todd, who can't even discern whether a video is computer generated or not, with an open book test watermark on it, that there are people that deliberately go into protest to stir up violence, to make peaceful protests look bad? How do you fucking explain that to somebody who can't even read?
How do you explain to boomers everything they see on the internet isn't real? Well, they will doubt everything on the internet if it doesn't fit their worldview. But if it fits their worldview, it does not matter. It doesn't matter how fake it is. It's true, right? But if it's like based on science or research or fucking decades of observation, nope, fake news. You can make anything up on the internet. But if it's from a literal fucking AI video company, as long as it fits their worldview, like, 21-year-olds are being paid to protest by George Soros, and now they're mad that they're not getting paid anymore. Yeah, it must be real. Jesus fucking Christ. Cooked, chat. We're cooked. Okay, here we go. Do you guys remember, was it in Indiana? I can't. You guys remember the 2 girls who went missing and were murdered on the walking trail, and the only evidence was the cell phone video that looked a lot like Liberty Warrior, and we blamed it on Liberty Warrior? Do you guys remember that case? Then they ended up arresting a guy. So they arrested a guy that they said he did it, and another guy that they thought did it. They arrested him or brought him in for questioning. It wasn't him. But he had CP on his phone. And all that happened, and we thought like, hey, yeah, down the hill is what he said. Girls down the hill. It looked exactly like Liberty Warrior. I thought that case was basically settled, right? Like they got the guy. Here we go. Obviously, I have some evidence. No. There has been so much more come out in this case. So much more. It's tied to an alt-right cult that worships Odin. They found carvings in a tree and letters that were drawn on a tree nearby in Abby's blood, one of the girls' blood. One of the girls had the other girl's clothes on, completely free of any blood. There was no blood at the scene. And they had sticks laid on them in like fucking symbols from this weird cult religion. Have you guys seen any of that? Check this out. This is insane. And the defense the prosecution had all of this information and never once gave it to the defense of the guy that's being charged with the murder. It's a longer video, but it's worth it. I promise.
I get a picture. Well, this one.
So this is one of the leaders of this cult that while they were looking for the murderer, he was on Facebook making videos saying, I bet you guys think I look like the murderer, don't you? Look, this is the same hat. This hat makes me look like the murderer. Just watch.
Really gonna piss you off. So you don't like my hat? You think I'm the murderer because I'm wearing this hat, right? Well, how about this hat? Does this hat trigger you?
BH made several Facebook posts that eerily resemble the supposed runes found on the girl's body.
So this is the way the sticks were laid over the girls' bodies. One of them completely naked and posed like this, touching the base of the tree. This one completely clothed, but with her clothes. Not the clothes, her clothes. Completely closed, not a drop of blood anywhere.
Bodies. And many people believe that he even closely resembled Bridge Guy. On February 13th, 2017,
This is going to be a full rundown of the case. So it's a longer video, but it's very interesting now.
13-year-old Abby and her best friend, 14-year-old Libby, set out on an afternoon hike along the Delphi Historic Trails. Tragically, the girls never made it off the trails, which set off a
Delphi. That's the name I couldn't remember. It's the Delphi murders.
Frantic search by family members and law enforcement. The following day, on February 14th, the girls' bodies were found in a wooded area near that trail. The details of the murders were not initially released, but the case quickly garnered national attention, with law enforcement agencies from several different jurisdictions joining to help solve this horrific crime. One of the most crucial and infamous pieces of evidence came from Libby's cell phone, after she very quickly managed to capture video and audio of the man believed to be their killer, as the two girls were walking on the Monon High Bridge. The grainy image and chilling audio clip of a male
By the way, looks just like Liberty Warrior.
voice could be heard saying, "Down."
I've still not ruled him out as the murderer, to be honest with you.
The hill, directing the girls to do this. And that clip was released to the public in hopes of generating leads. Despite thousands of tips pouring in and
That's all he says, which is creepy to begin with. Guys, down the hill.
and extensive analysis of the evidence, the killer's identity remained a mystery for years.
Directly to the killer, who may be in this room. What will those closest to you think of? They find out that you brutally murdered 2 little girls. 2 children. Only a coward would do such a thing.
There have been numerous different persons of interest, with some more heavily discussed online than others. People interested in the case would compare these individuals of the 2 vastly different sketches that were released to the public as well. Then, after years of essentially no new information, the case seemed to ramp up again after a new person of interest entered the public eye. 29-year-old Keegan Klein was an internet catfish that would use various fake accounts to chat with underage girls. It was also discovered that he was actually chatting with Libby the day of the murders.
So this big fat guy was a disgusting piece of shit, right? But he was brought in for questioning and arrested on SA child stuff, but he wasn't the murderer. He has a strong enough alibi. It wasn't him.
Keegan was later arrested and charged with possessing child material and given 43 years in prison. But since then, he has been ruled out as a suspect in the murders of Abby and Libby. Some thought that even if Keegan didn't commit the crimes himself, that he was somehow connected to the real killer. However, that theory died down after a different suspect was finally arrested and charged with the murders. 50-year-old C.
Right, and this is the guy we're like, okay, we got him. He kind of looks like Bridge Guy, probably him. If it was him, why the fuck wasn't his defense given all this information about all the cults, iconography, and shit surrounding the murder? Like, how fucking... It's like he's being framed. Not to mention some of the prison guards that were around him. So this guy actually called and confessed to, while he's in prison, to his mother and to his wife. some of the prison guards that work there, that were around him, that were allegedly always around him, are members of this cult.
CVS worker Richard Allen was arrested 5 years after the murders of Abby and Libby. He was arrested on October 26, 2022. In December, a redacted version of the probable cause affidavit was released, and prosecutors provided evidence linking Richard to the case.
They wore on, and listen, she's going to cover this too. I'm sorry, I'm just excited. On their prison uniforms, they wore patches with symbols from the Odin cult, until the defense came out and said, what the fuck is going on with this cult? We just now received this information. It hasn't been given to us. Seems like there's a lot of ties to this. Then they stopped wearing the patches.
The document stated that Richard put himself on the trails that day, and they also connected an unspent bullet discovered near the girls' bodies to a gun that he owned. They also stated there were witnesses claiming to see someone on the trail that resembled Richard. However, the witnesses described him as being in different clothing than what we have seen.
The witnesses say, oh yeah, it looked kind of like that guy, but he was wearing completely different clothing.
The bridge guy video to be wearing. But then there was another witness who claimed to have seen a man walking down the road in muddy and bloody clothing 2 hours after when the murders would have occurred. So in June of 2023, more documents were released that dropped an even bigger bombshell against Richard Allen. According to the documents, Richard confessed to the murders multiple times.
So this is the most damning part of it, right? And this is why everybody thought locked up, right? He's in jail. He's calling his wife and his mom, and he's admitting he did it. Maybe.
While on the phone to his wife, Kathy, and even to his mother. Each time he confessed, Kathy would quickly hang up the phone. Then after these confessions, Richard's mental state drastically changed, and he began losing a significant amount of weight.
How skinny he is now.
To eat or sleep.
So far, these are the only views we...
And again, maybe he's a crazy murderer, and like he is confessing his wife didn't want to fucking hear it. That drove him to like psychosis or something. Who knows, right? But his defense team should have had all this evidence.
We've had of Richard Allen at court. A defendant...
If he is the murderer, they've ruined the fucking case by keeping all this potentially exculpatory evidence away from him.
Walking in and out of the Carroll County Courthouse. Allen's attorneys want Judge Francis Gold to change that and allow cameras in the courtroom at each turn in his case.
However, it was a 136-page memo filed by Richard's defense team this past week that has now completely blown up online. While there were still some people who believed that Richard Allen was innocent, most people were leaning toward him being the killer due to the confidence of law enforcement and what also seemed like a solid investigation. Plus, taking into account that he actually confessed to his wife and mother on several occasions. However, if true, the information in these documents point the finger in a completely different direction, which just so happened to be pointing the finger back toward a cult being responsible. While the cult rumors seemed really unlikely and, quite honestly, a little silly in the beginning, with all of that information laid out in these documents,
it's crazy.
Doesn't seem so far-fetched after all. So according to an FBI agent in 2017, the bodies of the girls found at the crime scene seemed to have been moved, manipulated, and strategically placed, otherwise known as staged. And the new documents state that there was actually evidence discovered at the crime scene that indicates cult involvement, consisting of symbols resembling runes made out of sticks and constructed with tree branches. So the defense is arguing.
So they were definitely staged. We know that. Like, even if you rule out the sticks, let's say the sticks just randomly looked like that. They look like they're runes that have to do with Odinism, blah, blah, blah. They were definitely moved because there was not signs of a struggle and there's not blood there at the area where they were found, right? They were killed, then moved there.
That these symbols were clear signatures left behind by individuals in a cult called Odinism. The documents also describe the crime scene, which up until now has been a mystery to the public, left open.
There was the letter F, a red letter F, that was carved into a tree not far from the crime scene. And it was red, and they pulled a sample and ran it and found out that it's Abby, one of the girls' blood. The letter F was written in her blood on a tree, and they didn't figure on giving that the defense might need to know this information.
Open for speculation. It's now outlined, and the description is honestly so disturbing that many people online have stated that it has given them nightmares. And for me, personally speaking, it definitely did, especially as a mother. According to the document, Libby was found at the base of a tree.
Now, these are recreations of how the sticks were laid on the bodies.
with 4 branches intentionally placed in a very specific and arranged pattern on her body. Libby was positioned.
Some people have said, oh, they just threw sticks over the bodies to try to hide them. Maybe. Maybe not, but why didn't the defense have any of this information?
Flat on her back, nude, with her left arm stretched above her head, touching the base of the tree. There appeared to be no blood spraying or dripping onto the leaves or the tree near Libby's head, or near her sliced neck, making it likely that Libby had been killed at a nearby tree and then dragged to her final resting place where she was staged. The murderers treated Abby very differently, though. She was found just a few feet away from Libby, placed at an angle with her legs a few feet from Libby's legs. Now, unlike Libby, Abby was fully clothed. In fact, Abby was dressed in Libby's sweatshirt and jeans.
So I want you to listen very closely. Girl 1, naked. No blood around, even though her throat is slashed open, okay? Girl 2 is wearing girl 1's clothes, which is weird to begin with, right? The clothes that girl 2 is wearing that are not hers have no blood on them. Someone went through and made sure they sliced this girl's throat without getting a drop of blood on her clothing and then put it on the other girl. That's some weird meticulous shit that you wouldn't do if you're just murdering 2 girls in the woods, right?
The murderers appeared to have gone to great lengths to keep Abby's body and clothing clean from blood. Abby was found on her back. However, her elbows were bent, with her right and left arms both placed on her chest. Then, like Libby, those involved in the murder had placed tree branches in a very specific pattern on top of Abby. In addition to the unusual way that the girls were posed, including the stick formations placed on their bodies, another unusual marking was found on a nearby tree. A symbol.
That does not look to me like the way you would just throw sticks on top of a body if you were trying to hide it. First of all, they'd probably be a lot more sticks. Second of all, like the weird star symbol one, sticks. I don't think sticks randomly end up like that, but
that looked similar to the letter F appeared approximately 4 feet above the base of the tree.
So the tree that her hand is touching when she's laid out with one arm up, okay, has a letter carved in it that looks kind of like the letter F. And it's painted red with her blood. But her blood isn't on the ground. It is on the leaves. It is on her clothing she was wearing. It is on her body. It looks like someone has cleaned her body.
The F was red in color, and later DNA testing showed that the F had been painted on that tree using Libby's blood as the so-called paint. The defense has also provided the court with DNA documentation supporting the fact that Libby's blood was the source of the F that was painted on the tree. The stick configuration on
all right, so here's what we're talking about when we're talking about the sticks. Sometimes we see it one way, sometimes we see it flipped. Like even these 2 small sticks right here. See the 2 small sticks at the top around her head to make this star pattern? Or you're going to see some of the patterns over here in a second. That's not laying sticks to cover up a body. Like they're not even on her body.
Abby resembles the rune called Hegel. This rune is used to depict.
How hard would it be for one guy to kill both those girls, clean it all up, change clothes from one to the other one, dead weight, moving them around? Like, what?
The word hail.
So if you use this bind runes that they're claiming are associated with this cult, basically the 2 runes beside each other say Hail Odin. Like Hell Hitler, but Hell Odin. And their cult worships Odin.
Therefore, the combination of the Hegel rune found on Abby and the rune that was found on the tree, when combined, would proclaim Hail Odin. The defense team speculates that because of the lack of blood visible in the crime scene photos, especially the lack of blood concerning Abby, that the murderers may have saved the blood to be used in future rituals. Scene photos, especially the lack of blood, would proclaim Hail Odin. The defense team speculates that because of the lack of blood visible in the crime scene photos, especially the lack of blood concerning Abby.
So it's not just like they were killed somewhere else, we found the blood and they were drugged here. There is no blood. They think they may have collected the blood because a lot of their rituals that this cult does uses blood. They may have collected the blood and kept it with them.
That the murderers
This is a terrifying story if true.
may have saved the blood to be used in future rituals. Under Abby's left lower back, a shoe was found. This shoe is believed to be Libby's shoe, and under the shoe, a cell phone was found. The cell phone was later determined to be Libby's phone. According to recent depositions taken of Sheriff Liggett, the famous video of the person that many people called Bridge Guy was found on this very phone. It is absolutely...
So the phone was found under a shoe that belonged to girl 2 under girl 1. And that's the phone that they found the Bridge Guy video on.
Horrifying to think about a searcher coming across this disturbing scene in the middle of the woods. And I will get back into what Odinism is in just a moment, but I wanted to go over the part of the document that many people believe does point to Richard Allen's innocence. Even though it was very redundant,
The butcher of Plainfield.
the defense went through the suspected timeline step by step, all in order to show that it would have been difficult, if not near impossible, for one man to have carried out the murder on his own. Regardless, for someone of Richard's size, which was about 5'4",
He's not even a big, like he's not 6'6", 280. He's 5'4" and kind of chubby.
does seem like it would be difficult for one person to have gone through all of those steps and made sure that neither of the girls were screaming or ran away while he was killing the other. According to the defense, even though the lead investigator on the case has publicly stated that there was only one killer, in private, he has said that it seems like more than one person would have had to do all.
So the defense got a hold of some people that have talked to the lead investigator. And the lead investigator on TV is saying, oh, no, one person. It was just one person. No way there was anybody else. We know it was just one person. But in private, he's saying, man, I don't know how one person could even fucking do this.
All of the steps involved given the timeline. So like I mentioned before, there have been several new names of potential persons of interest that the defense claims has ties to Odinism and who could have been involved in the murders. And I'm sure you might be wondering at this point what Odinism is. Well,
all right, here you go, Murha. Here's what Odinism is.
News Nation described Odinism as a white supremacist cult focused on the worship of the Norse god Odin.
For Odinists, this is sort of the religion of their blood.
Dr. Jefferson Calico teaches at University of the Cumberlands in Kentucky. He tells me Odinism is a
racially based form of heathenry or Germanic paganism. These are people who see it as like a white man's religion, you know? A racist form of religion.
It's followers of that religion that Richard Allen's attorneys say killed Abby Williams and Libby German in the woods in Delphi, ritualistically sacrificing them, moving and positioning their bodies, and placing sticks on them in the form of pagan symbols.
Ancient Norse religion, there have been, some of the ancient sources mention human sacrifice.
There have been side-by-side
Again, there's the symbols that were laid on top of their bodies.
Comparisons of the placement of the girls and the sticks alongside images of runes or Odin symbols, and some people think that the sticks clearly resemble these symbols, while others think that this is a reach, and that the sticks were more than likely just thrown haphazardly in a failed attempt to cover.
I don't think it's about like sacrificing black people or brown people or whatever. I think it's about just doing the sacrifice of having the blood, or maybe the blood is pure.
Up the girls' bodies. It's important to note that in the document, the defense states that they themselves did not come up with any of these new persons of interest or any of the information at all, and that it was all.
So the defense document says, wait a second, there's all these other people of interest that the police were investigating. We're not coming up with this. We're not coming up with a theory that a cult did it. We're not saying these people in the cult could have been involved, and the police thought this at the time. So it's not like, a lot of people want to say, oh, the defense will make up anything crazy to cast doubt on their client because they're trying to win the case. No. The defense is just saying the police thought this and didn't tell us. The police had this idea that the cult did it, and it was a sacrifice, and it was tied to these people online who are making these crazy fucking videos about it, and they didn't tell us. So now we're just telling the court.
all part of the discovery that was given to them from the prosecution. According to the defense, Abby was dating a boy whose father is a known Odinist member.
Abby was dating a boy whose dad was in the cults.
I'm going to refer to him as BH in
Now, this is the guy who makes all the fucking weird Facebook posts right after the murder.
this episode. BH made several Facebook posts that eerily resemble the supposed runes found on the girls' bodies.
So he was making posts sharing the runes, the cryptic symbols that were on the girls' bodies made out of sticks. What world is that just a coincidence? Like, he wouldn't know the runes. He wouldn't know the girls were found in this condition, right? He would have no ties to this whatsoever. Why was he randomly making Facebook posts with the exact symbols that were found on the girl's body if he didn't see the crime scene? He had no idea, right?
And many people believe that he even closely resembled Bridge Guy, and sounds like him as well. On February 17th, 2017, 3 days after the girls were found
3 days after the girls were found,
murdered, BH posted a meme which discussed how real friends will help you move dead bodies, and then the friends will keep their mouths shut.
So we've all seen this meme on Facebook, okay? I've probably even posted it. I'm sure a lot of you guys have. Like, when you call a regular friend and tell them you killed somebody, they don't ask no questions. But a real friend will bring a shovel and help you move the body, kind of deal. I don't think that that's the smoking gun that people might think it is, but it is weird. It was 3 days after the bodies were found. When the entire town, this is all the entire town is talking about, he's posting memes about his friends helping him hide and move a body.
He's also made taunting videos wearing hats that resembled the hat worn by Bridge Guy.
Last video.
So he makes these videos saying, oh, you guys are mad because you think I'm the murderer because of this hat? Wait till you see this hat. It really looks like the guy in the video. Why would you... Your entire town is grieving over the loss of 2 teenage girls. And you're making videos on the internet saying, well, you think this hat looks like the murderer. Wait till you see this new hat. It's really going to piss you off. I don't understand any other reason he would be making these videos.
He's also made taunting videos wearing hats that resembled the hat worn by Bridge Guy.
Last video pissed you off. Well, this one's really gonna piss you off. So you don't like my hat? You think I'm the murderer because I'm wearing this hat, right? Well, how about this hat? This hat trigger you?
And he was actually...
You think I'm the murderer because I'm wearing his hat. He literally says, it wasn't just like, oh, you guys hate my hat, so I got a bunch of them. Like, he's like, you think I'm the murderer because I'm wearing his hat. I can't think of a reason that any sane person would make a video like this.
Found to have been in Delphi often, visiting friends. There were other Odinists mentioned in the document, all of whom have connections to each other. And as you can see, this theory does hold a little more weight now, considering all of this new information. The defense states that even though most of these members have alibis, they're shady at best. Apparently, there are several officers who believe this angle as well, but their thoughts have been suppressed to...
So basically, when other officers... Now again, the police actually thought this could be a viable suspects at one time. Other officers still believe that this guy isn't the murderer, and they're being told, like, hey, you need to fall in line. That we're coming out unified against this guy.
To further the narrative of Richard Allen being guilty. In one more piece of the cult...
I don't know. I'm just saying it's really fucking weird that all this was was hidden from the defense team. The cops thought it. The prosecution thought it. Everybody thought this is sketchy as fuck. Now we're getting ready to go to court. We've been in court for 2 goddamn years, and suddenly now we find all this information out? You withheld it from us? Which is enough to throw a case out immediately. Withholding a potentially, it doesn't have to be perfect, potentially exculpatory evidence. Knowingly. Right? And sometimes not even knowingly. We've seen the Baldwin shit, right? The cops didn't show in or didn't give the defense team some of the rounds that some guy brought into the police station, right? So his whole case was thrown out.
Odinist theory, the defense alleges that there were several members of the cult working at the corrections facility where Richard Allen is being held. They said,
how big is this cult? The defense team personally witnessed guards wearing these patches on their uniform while they were talking with their clients. The defense team, his lawyers, went to speak with the client at the correctional facility. The defense team personally witnessed guards wearing these patches. Now, I know some of these patches, like, taken by themselves, right? If we just said, okay, some of the guys that work at the police or at the jail are wearing Odin patches. Well, there's this whole movement of, like, Odin and Valhalla and shit that's big around military and police. But we can't just take it separately because there's an Odin cult that was suspected in this fucking murder.
That they personally witnessed guards wearing Odinist patches and were the ones always seen with Richard. They claimed that the men wearing the patches on their uniforms were always within earshot of any of Richard's conversations and also always monitoring him, which they believe could be the reason that Richard admitted to the murders when they believe he is actually innocent. They stated that Richard could have been threatened if he did not confess, which may be why his mental health has declined so rapidly and drastically afterward. They believe that they possibly threatened to kill his family, which caused Richard to ask over and over in every meeting with them if his family was alive.
So every meeting Richard has with his attorneys, one of the first questions he always asks is if his family's still alive.
If they were okay, and if they were safe. The defense also stated that after it came out that they knew about the possible Odin connection, that the guards miraculously stopped wearing those patches. In the next part of the document, the defense claims that the lead investigator lied, left out, and even falsified pertinent information in order to get the judge to sign off on that search warrant. They believe the timeline of when Richard Allen left the park wouldn't match up to when the murders took place, and that the witnesses claimed to have seen a man in completely different clothing than what Richard and Bridge Guy were wearing. They believe that if all of the witnesses' statements, the Odinist information, and correct timeline were included in the probable cause affidavit, then the warrant would have never been signed, and that there never would have been a search of Richard Allen.
I think I even have some patches that someone gave me or whatever that mention like Valhalla and fucking Nordic shit like that, right? From where I used to wear my uniform. That's one thing. But on top of everything, like the runes, the police thinking this had something to do with it, and then the guards are wearing it, like that's insane.
Home or vehicles. All of this and so much more have now caused people who were sure of Richard's guilt to reconsider. It's clear that the defense has done their homework, in my opinion, but we do need to remember too, this is from Richard's defense. It is their job to cast doubt on the prosecution's case, and some people even believe that this could have been an attempt to taint the possible jury pool. It's going to be extremely difficult to find a jury who has no knowledge of this case anyway, and some people think that the defense knew this and wanted to put some more doubt out there into the public to...
Sure, it could be the defense just trying to defend, like throw out as much shit. It's weird that the police thought it too, though. and then didn't hand over any of that information.
Make the trial more fair for their client. In the document, the defense said that one of the saddest parts about all of this new information is that if the prosecution knew about all of this years ago but didn't bring it up, it's possible that Richard could have been sitting in jail all this time for no reason. If the defense had gotten all of this information 2 or even 3 years ago, maybe they could have used it to get Richard out of jail sooner. As a reminder, the jury trial is scheduled for January 8th, 2024 at 9 a.m. As it stands, Richard Allen is still charged with 2 counts of murder in the case of the February 2017 murders of Libby German and Abby Williams. Again, I don't think this document necessarily proves that Richard Allen is innocent because it is through the lens of the defense, and I'm sure that the prosecution has a lot of evidence of their own that won't be released until the trial. However, I do think that this has sparked an important conversation, and maybe there is something else going on here that is far more disturbing than one man on a bridge. I'm sure that there will be a response from the state about the claims in this document, and I will definitely keep...
I want to know if Liberty Warrior is part of this Odin cult. Because, again, he looks just like the man on the bridge.
Keep you updated on any more information that comes out about it in this case. At the end of the day, all any of us want is justice for Abby and Libby.
You know what I would like to see? That guy on TikTok that, like, takes, like, a fucking water bottle in your background, or, like, the fucking tab off a soda can that can analyze how tall you are. I want to see him do that with the bridge guy video. Because that one guy's 5'4". Right? That's not like this guy here is 6'3". Well, then obviously something's going on.
And we want that to come from putting away the right person.
We must keep our resolve.
And there's no proof that Bridge Guy had anything to do with it, I guess I should say. It wouldn't exactly make him innocent, right? Bridge Guy is creepy. Bridge Guy is weird. And the fact that he's like down the hill, like that's something weird to say to fucking people. But that could have been something completely different that had nothing to do with the murder.
For Libby and Abby. For this community. And frankly, to ensure that good trumps evil. And it will.
Well, this one's really going to be...
How fucking crazy is that update? Is that not insane? As soon as I saw that, I'm like, I have to talk about this. Like, this is a wild fucking update, dude. Wild. I don't know. Maybe the other guy's guilty, and this is just the defense throwing a bunch of shit out there to see what sticks. But it just seems pretty fucking crazy, right? And let's see. What about Memphis is burning to the ground, guys. We got to get some military in there or something.
What's going on in Memphis? Let's take a look. So if you didn't know, President Trump assigned a Memphis Safe Task Force, whose objective is to end street and violent crime in Memphis to the greatest possible extent. They'll work together closely with state officials in Tennessee and local officials in Memphis, and it'll be chaired by an individual selected by and appointed by the Attorney General. And I don't see one leftist talking about what they've done in just the past couple of weeks alone. Number one, over 175 illegally owned firearms were confiscated. So for the party of pro-gun regulation, I assume this is a good thing, right? What else do we have? Over 850 arrests have been made, and 45 missing children have been found. 45 missing children were found in just 2 weeks.
Lock in, fuck niggas. We about to fact check this shit. First, if you fuck with me, check out my longer form content. Let's get it. What the hell is she talking about? First, I want to point out that in the first 8 months of 2025, we've seen that Memphis had the lowest violent crime rate we've seen in 25 years, which clearly...
Memphis had the lowest violent crime rate that the city's seen in 25 years this year.
shows that we don't need...
Before Trump deployed anybody.
National Guard patrolling the Memphis streets. And based on the numbers you're giving us, we can see that the crime rate in Memphis is going down. The 850 arrests, for example, 20% of the people that were arrested in Memphis were undocumented migrants. Mind you, it's been reported that 71% of people detained by ICE have no criminal record. There's a good chance that the undocumented migrants in Memphis are being attacked and they have no criminal record. Not to mention that most of those arrests was from outstanding warrants. You also mentioned that over 170 firearms were recovered over the 2 weeks. That's extremely low when you compare the firearm recovery in 2023 in Memphis, Tennessee. They recovered nearly 6,000 firearms, meaning they recovered at least 240 firearms every 2 weeks. And the 40+
So they're below the average. Wow.
Missing children that were found, majority of them were runaways. So please stop giving Donald Trump and the National Guard any credit.
Now Numbers don't lie, I guess. What is this? Political violence.
Someone on the left, I really urge you to stay for this video because a lot of you are sharing a graph about political violence and the fact that it's more so on the right in literally everyone's comment sections. And I need you to know that statistically, those graphs are wrong. And I'm not just saying this because I am a conservative. This data is incredibly skewed, and I really urge you to stay and listen to why. The first issue in these graphs is that any and all anti-government violence is automatically deemed as right-wing. So the Occupy riots that was conducted and organized by liberals, that counted as right-wing, as well as the BLM riots, which we all know was liberal occupied. That counted as right-wing. Those are just two major examples.
Lock in, fuck niggas. We about to fact check this shit. First, if you fuck with me, check out that podcast. Let's get it. What the hell is she talking about? You can tell you didn't do any research on this because the Center of Strategic and International Studies released an article yesterday on a difference between left-wing and right-wing terrorism and also gave some statistical facts. And when you look at the definition for both left-wing terrorism and right-wing terrorism, they both say opposition from government authority. And the newly released statistics that we've seen this year, we can see that left-wing terrorism has increased since 2020. But despite this, we still see right-wing terrorism far outpacing left-wing terrorism.
It's like they don't know that the numbers, I don't know, like they get owned by Grok all the fucking time, trying to manipulate it into goddamn doing backflips to say the things that they want, and they still can't figure it out. None of the data's on your side. That's why your president's running around making AI videos.
John Yang. Tonight, there are major strains on the fragile ceasefire between Hamas and Israel, which has only been in place for just a little more than a week. Israel said it carried out a series of strikes across Gaza in response to Hamas attacks on troops near Rafah on the border with Egypt. In addition, Israel says it's cutting off aid shipments into Gaza until further notice. One of the Israeli targets was a seaside coffee shop in Deir al-Balah. In all, Gaza health officials say dozens of Palestinians were killed.
There goes that Nobel Peace Prize.
In Israel, it's been a bittersweet day. Celebration.
Of course, this was rushed out. There's nobody on the ground doing the security for it. We don't even know who they're going to be.
As more freed hostages were returned to their homes and their families, and mourning as Uriel Baruch was laid to rest. He was killed in the October 7th attacks, and his body kept in Gaza until now. Meanwhile, the remains of two more hostages who died in captivity were returned. So
this was always the plan. They wanted a story to come out before the Nobel Peace Prize winner was announced, even though voting closed way fucking back at the first of the year. They wanted a story to come out, and they knew that this wasn't going to work.
They may be given a proper burial. Special correspondent Layla Milana Allen is in Tel Aviv tonight. Layla, it seems like this ceasefire is running to a lot of problems rather rapidly this weekend. What's the latest?
That's right, John. And actually, there were problems right from the very beginning. On Monday, just the 20 living hostages were released, and only 4 of the 28 deceased hostages' bodies were released. That prompted an outcry from the families, and the Israeli government said to Hamas, unless you release those other bodies immediately, that is a ceasefire violation. They started threatening to close the Rafah crossing and not let the amount of aid in that is supposed to be coming in. What then happened was that, of course, Hamas—
I don't think you should be able to negotiate with aid. I don't think you should be able to negotiate and say, you either do this or we're not giving you food and water, medical supplies.
Hamas hasn't agreed.
Especially when they're not the ones giving it, right? It's coming from around the world.
They are going to leave the Gaza Strip, or they're going to stop being in charge of it. So they reinforced their presence in the cities and towns as the IDF pulled back. They went around and they started essentially arresting and did some public executions of these gangs that they say Israel has armed to try and fight them, and they want to reestablish their power. Now, there was immediately a comment from President Trump who said, if they're killing people in Gaza, that violates the ceasefire, and we will go back and kill them. He clarified that he did not mean U.S. troops, but he meant Israeli troops. Then the next—
when he says we, he doesn't mean America first. He means Israel. When your president of the United States says we, he means Israel.
thing that happened was this weekend we've seen multiple ceasefire violations, and both sides are saying that each side is violating. Yesterday, what happened was there was a bus that crossed into Gaza City, a family who were looking to try and find out what had happened to their home, as so many hundreds of thousands of Gazans are returning to their homes. Now, 11 people were killed when the IDF fired a shell at that bus, including 7 children. Then in the south, in Rafah, what happened was that the IDF said they had been attacked by Hamas fighters and that 2 soldiers were killed when Hamas fighters fired an anti-tank missile at them. They responded with a massive wave of airstrikes that, as you said, has killed dozens of people thus far. So many violations of both sides. Where it's been left this evening is that Israel Katz, the defense minister, has said that they are going to put down.
What's crazy is like the U.S. fought this war for 20 plus years, right? We know how to respond. You can't blow up fucking 30 people because 2 people shot at you. Like, we figured this out through trial and error. We looked really bad doing it. This is not like hidden knowledge. They know how to respond in kind, what it should look like. Sometimes you got to risk your own people in there to go out and get the insurgents. You can't just level this goddamn city block or a hospital, but they don't give a fuck.
Down border markers for the yellow line where the IDF's meant to have pulled back to. They're going to re-establish the ceasefire, but anyone crossing that line can be fired upon.
Layla, the idea of the ceasefire was going to give them time to negotiate the big questions, what Gaza would look like after the war. Is there a chance this could all fall apart and they never get to those big questions?
There absolutely is, and that was really the problem from the start. Of course, when President Trump was here on Monday addressing the Israeli parliament, he said, this is it. We've ended the war. It's all over. Best thing to happen to the Middle East in decades. That was really premature. The fact that President Trump is a deal guy, they wanted to push this through. They wanted to do the initial stage, which is to stop the killing. They wanted to stop people in Gaza dying. They wanted to get aid in. They wanted to start that. Now, there has been a lot behind the scenes where all the parties involved here, the U.S., of course, but also mediators in Egypt and Qatar, they're trying to keep this deal on the road. They're focusing on deconfliction, stopping the bombing, stopping the shelling, and getting the aid in. But the reality is that the next stage of this huge Trump 20-point peace plan, we may never get there. Nothing else has been negotiated, and the fruits of that are being born now. If we forever stay in this stage where it's all about stopping and starting, many people are concerned that this will turn into a Lebanon situation. It's been nearly a year since a ceasefire was agreed with the Lebanon war. There have been hundreds of violations documented by the Lebanese armed forces where Israel has struck both with airstrikes and shelling Lebanon. And they say there has been complete impunity for that, and they're worried that the same situation will repeat itself here, where Israel continues to strike when they say there's been some sort of violation, when they say that Hamas has done something, which means we'll never progress to the next stage. Reconstruction. Will they ever be able to get the materials in? Where will all those Gazans live while that's happening? Will Israel allow building materials in unless Hamas is out of power, which they have not agreed to? And beyond that, a Palestinian state. There are references to that in this peace plan, but can that ever happen? This technocratic committee, is this just going to be for Gaza? Is there going to be something that unites all the different Palestinian territories? What's the future here? This is a huge and ambitious plan, and we are languishing in that first stage, which may not even be able to survive.
Layla Milana Allen in Tel Aviv, thank you very much.
Thank you, John.
Bit of a deep dive, so bear with me on this one. Last month, I pointed out the similarities between this part of a speech by senior White House official Stephen Miller at Charlie Kirk's funeral.
We are the ones who build. We are the ones who create. We are the ones who lift up humanity.
And this speech by famous neo-Nazi Richard Spencer.
To be white is to be a striver, a crusader, an explorer, and a conqueror. We build, we produce, we go upward.
And it's been pointed out by many that also sounds a lot like a quote by Hitler's head of propaganda, Joseph Goebbels, who referred to his audience as the wheelbearers, witnesses, builders, and finishers of his people's unique uprising. Interestingly, that specific speech in 1932 by Goebbels is called "The Storm is Coming," so it's a little sus when Stephen Miller said this.
I'm reminded of a famous expression. The storm whispers to the warrior that you cannot withstand my strength, and the warrior whispers back, I am the storm.
Anyway, here's a different part of the same speech.
The light will defeat the dark. We will prevail over the forces of wickedness and evil.
And here's a clip from an incredible documentary on the 2017 neo-Nazi rally in Charlottesville by filmmaker Dia Khan. These overt neo-Nazis are seen removing the swastikas from their shields ahead of the rally to avoid being too overt in their Nazism. You know, they're not Nazis, they're just alt-right. And here's the pre-rally pep talk.
We are the forces of light and civilization, and we are fighting against the forces of darkness.
Okay, now listen to far-right influencer Benny Johnson in a press conference after getting what they claim was a death threat in a letter.
And we must understand the battle. We are fighting good versus evil, darkness versus light. And good must conquer evil. do not make peace with evil.
By the way, Benny is one of the 6 far-right influencers in the US who have collectively received $10 million from Russia to make more far-right content, but that's unrelated. Anyway, you can trace this light versus darkness rhetoric back to the Dead Sea Scrolls, a religious text, but it's also been used by Nazis like Chilean author Miguel Serrano. And to be fair,
you don't
could just chalk that up to extreme hyperbolic language. It's not hard to spontaneously or independently come up with that metaphor without consciously referring to the Dead Sea Scrolls or Miguel Serrano. But what this metaphor means is we can't reason with our opponents. This is an absolutist battle for survival, and nothing is off the table because we're the forces of light against the forces of darkness. This is the kind of rhetoric you use.
We don't negotiate. We don't make peace. We don't settle with the evil that is the left.
To get the people on your side to ignore the atrocities you commit in the name of fighting the forces of darkness. We're dragging children out of their beds.
It's so crazy. They're like, well, every time the left says something about us, they call us Nazis. Then they're like, oh, our group chat leaked. We love Hitler.
At night and tying them in the street. Yeah, that looks bad, but we can't be the baddies. We're the forces of light fighting the forces of darkness.
Are we the baddies?
In other words, this is the kind of rhetoric you use to dehumanize your enemy and desensitize your supporters to whatever you might do to them. It's something you say to prepare them for violence and whip up the kind of...
And we can already see that when you're like, well, would you want your kid? Well, no, but they're evil. They did something illegal. They're stealing from us. They're taking our jobs. They're getting all this free stuff that we don't get.
On your side to fight with all means necessary, up to and including genocide. You don't believe me? Here's another example.
We are the sons of light. They are the sons of darkness. And the light will prevail over the darkness. And then one last one to piss you off before we go. The United States is a republic. The United States is also a democracy. It's like saying a Toyota pickup is a truck, but it's also a vehicle, an automobile, right? I don't understand why people can't get this to their head, but clearly they can't.
Do you believe 7 million people that showed up for this hate America?
Sure, I do.
That's true. Right. They were anti-fascists. They fought the good fight in both wars.
Do you believe 7 million people that showed up for this hate America?
Sure, I do. I think George Soros...
Everybody that showed up for No Kings hates America. They were paid.
Probably paid 20 million people, and half of them didn't show up.
Okay, George Soros paid 20 million people. How much did he pay each one of them?
Probably 20 to 50 bucks.
Okay.
You think somebody's going to go to a protest for $20?
Yeah.
I don't.
These fools, yes.
I don't.
Because you know what's funny about this whole situation? All you goddamn lefties who think that you're trying to save democracy, you are what is killing democracy. You get on your goddamn Google and look up what democracy is. We've been in a democracy since Obama took over.
You think you're saving democracy, you're killing democracy. Google what democracy is. We've been in a democracy since Obama took over.
Obama took over. And I'm telling you right now, what we're trying to do is kill democracy.
What we're trying to do right now is kill democracy.
And bring back the republic.
Ah, there we go. I swear some of them are so dumb that I think they think the word republic goes with Republican and democracy goes with Democrat. And that's as far as they look into it. Every time I play this guy, I'm like, that's Mariah's grandparents.
The republic.
You confused me there a couple of times. You're saying Obama ushered in democracy?
No, he's the one who propelled it. He got help from George Soros. And the democracy that you're trying to save, if you'll go do your damn homework, you'll find out that most socialist and communist countries start out as democracies.
So we're a form of democracy. It's a representative form of democracy, right? We vote people in to make direct changes, but we don't vote on every little thing, right? We don't have a referendum on every law. Instead, we have a representative go for us that we vote in through a democratic process. Like, again, it's like saying this Toyota pickup is a pickup truck, but it's not an automobile. Yes, it is an automobile, a very specific form of automobile. It's a pickup truck.
Socialist and communist countries start out as democracies. And we need to kill the democracy and bring.
And we need to kill the democracy.
And we need to kill the democracy and bring back the republic.
Do you believe 7 million people?
So if that were true, like we would have it, if you had a pure democracy, we'd be voting on everything all the time, right? And it's just not feasible at the scale we're at. Could you imagine if everything that was being argued had to be explained to you and you had a referendum on every fucking thing, every line item on a budget, every fucking new pay package, and it's just impossible, right? Although it would be cool that we got to vote on everything. That's why states have a lot of times have referendum voting. Like, well, here currently we've been seeing states fucking ignore it. But what's supposed to happen if it's something that's going to immediately affect your day-to-day life and it's a big deal and it has a lot of controversy around it, we put it back to the voters, right? And we've seen states that are now ignoring this and challenging shit in court or whatever, which is pissing a lot of people off. But of course, we're not a direct democracy. We're a representative republic. But still, when we vote somebody in, they're supposed to be voting based on our desires. As a constituent, we desire you to vote in this way. That's why we elected you. They don't get it. I'll play it one more time in case you were confused, and I'm not going to pause it this time.
People that showed up for this hate America?
Sure I do. I think George Soros probably paid 20 million people, and half of them didn't show up.
Okay, George Soros paid 20 million people. How much did he pay each one of them?
Probably 20 to 50 bucks.
You think somebody's going to go to a protest for $20?
Yeah.
I don't.
These fools, yes.
I don't.
Because you know what's funny about this whole situation? All you goddamn lefties who think that you're trying to save democracy, you are what is killing democracy. You get on your goddamn Google and look up what democracy is. We've been in a democracy since Obama took over. And I'm telling you right now, what we're trying to do is kill democracy and bring back the republic.
You confused me there a couple of times. You're saying Obama ushered in democracy?
No, he's the one who propelled it. He got help from George Soros. And the democracy that you're trying to save, if you'll go do your damn homework, you'll find out that most socialist and communist countries start out as democracies. And we need to kill the democracy and bring back the republic.
Do you believe 7 million people that should...
Fucking insane, dude. Again, a direct democracy is what it is. A republic means that the power resides in people who elect representatives, right? So we still have a democracy with us having all the power. You vote on everything, right? A republic would be we have representatives there for us, and we are considered a constitutional, because we have a constitution that states out our basic framework. Federal, we have a federal government over top of our state government. Republic, which means that we have representatives, which is all of those are forms of or do not clash, right? They all fall under democracy. Like I don't understand what this argument is, and they don't even understand that they're losing the argument. They have no fucking idea that they are losing the argument every time they open their mouth. But there we go. Dad is back. That's right.
There's anything going to get me in heaven? Okay, I really don't. I think I'm not maybe heaven bound. I may be in heaven right now as we fly in Air Force One. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to make heaven.
That was a joke. He said, I may not be heaven bound. Why aren't you doing it now? In his
What's the joke?
dialect and making fun of it because that was a joke.
What's the joke?
What's the joke? I'm a shitty person, so I'm not going to heaven?
Joke.
Liberals cannot take jokes.
What's the
joke is that liberals cannot take jokes.
Joke.
You guys on the far left can't see that as funny. I saw that as funny.
What's funny about it? What's the joke?
That he was saying, maybe I'm not heaven bound. Maybe that's not for me.
Because he's a piece of shit and he knows it.
Okay, that's your opinion.
But if you're a Christian, what is the joke? Right? He's a Christian who doesn't know any Bible verses. He just likes them all. He's never asked God for forgiveness. What is the joke? What other person who puts this much of their persona into their faith like he does? Everywhere he goes, he talks about how he's a Christian, Christian nation, Christian values. We're bringing back. We're going to be a Christian. I love the whole Bible. What is the joke? Oh, yeah, that's a big one, too. It was the National Socialist Party. Yeah, but who were the first people they went after? The leftists, the socialists, what, the communists? Weird. I don't understand what this joke is. If your pastor stood up and is like, I don't think I'm going to heaven, guys. Oh, okay, that's really funny.
And not ours.
But what's the joke? I don't get the joke.
There is a clip of him when he was running the first time where he's at this event for like family values or some shit. And they ask him, they ask him directly. I played it on the show a few nights ago. They ask him directly, okay, you claim to be a Christian, blah, blah, blah. Have you ever asked God for forgiveness? And he says, he goes on a big long rant about his preacher. And then the guy's like, okay, well, that's a cool story. But have you ever asked God for forgiveness? He says, no, never. I don't involve that in my day-to-day life. I just try to do better. What Christian would be like, yeah, I'm a Christian follower of Christ. I believe that God died for my sins, but I've never, ever asked God for forgiveness, ever, because I just don't. And one of the worst ones where they're like, oh, you say you're a Christian. What's your favorite Bible verse? He's like, I don't like to get into it. Which one is it? I like them all. You have some good, some bad. I like them all. Okay.
Well, that's why you're left.
Yeah, that's why you guys, maybe I'm not heaven bound. Maybe that's not for me.
Because he's a piece of shit and he knows it.
Okay, that's your opinion, not ours.
But what's the joke? I don't get the joke.
Well, that's why you're left.
Yeah, that's why you guys only see one side of things. And that was...
Well, then show us the other side. What's the joke?
Kind of funny. I saw it as kind
of... I thought it was damn funny.
It's funny if you think that he's Jesus Christ himself. Like if Jesus like, I don't know if I'm going to get in, guys. That would be funny. So if you worship him as if he's a deity sent directly from God to fix our nation, yeah, that's kind of funny. But if you have to be honest with yourself that he's not a god, right? He's just a man, and all the atrocities he's committed, there is no joke there.
I just don't think this was a joke. I think he believes this, and he knows he's done very bad shit.
I don't give a shit what you think.
I don't think there's anything going to get me.
Got it.
Who founded Antifa?
I agree that it is an organization, that it is funded by people.
I think we've seen these.
Huh?
Who founded Antifa?
Had to be the people with the money. Soros, Clintons, Obamas.
George Soros is the founder of Antifa?
Maybe.
Bill Clinton is? Obama is? Joe Biden is? Who is it?
Has to be people with the money that keep funding it.
So you have no idea, and you're just making shit up, and you're filling in the founder of Antifa with your current perceived political enemies.
I'm filling it in with the people that have the money that keep pumping it out there for paid protesters and people to go riot and to be physical.
Let's say that there are paid protesters. Why does that matter to you? Who cares?
Because when they are there in the name of Antifa.
It's so funny to me that they think that they have to pay people to dislike Trump.
They cause damage. They do physical harm to people. They throw bricks.
Yes, this is, so I forgot, like we cover this podcast all the time. It's called The Necessary Conversation. So basically the two old people are the parents, and this guy and this girl you see right here are the kids. And the parents, they all had a really normal life until Trump came into the picture, and then the parents went super MAGA. Like before that, they didn't really talk about politics. I mean, they made it known that they were a Republican. They didn't talk about politics, but now they buy everything he sells, the shoes, the cologne, and they worship Trump. And the two kids, one of them moved to California, one of them lives in Texas, and they've went more left. So they get on there and they feel like they have to have these conversations so they don't lose their family. That's why they call it The Necessary Conversation. But the dad is just a fucking dickhead, and the mom is just, when she's allowed to talk, when the dad actually allows the mom to talk, she's just like, I believe it because I saw it on Twitter. Like it's a crazy fucking podcast. I'm just showing you the clips, but I think once or twice a week, they do a live podcast for like 2 fucking hours and talk about all the news that week. And sometimes when they get the mom separate, they can actually get her to agree that what Trump did something bad. The dad, never. He's like, fuck you all, you were commies. The other day there was a clip where they're like, Trump's talking about potentially killing protesters or people that, and the mom's like, yeah, that's why I want you to join our side. She didn't say like the president shouldn't be killing people or bombing people or attacking people or arresting people. She's like, I feel fear for you guys, so I want you to be with us when we kill the other protesters. Like it's pretty fucking insane. It's extremely insane. It's called The Necessary Conversation. You can check it out on YouTube or TikTok or wherever. All right, guys, I'm out for the night. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you for being here. If you want to support the show, go to buymeacoffee.com/coldbeer. I'll be back probably tomorrow. We'll see. I got some work to do and some stuff to get done, but I'll probably be back tomorrow. Either way, I'll be back on the next one. You guys have a good night. Good to see y'all tonight. I hope you enjoyed your weekend. And we'll see everybody on the next one. Have a good one. Talk to you later. See you. Bye.
But I can tell you this about if this douchebag happens to see this particular show, you don't have the forking balls to call out the people on this planet by name and tell them exactly who they are and tell them the rest of the world who they are. You don't have the forking balls. You don't have the balls.
Okay, Scott.
I do think it's interesting that nobody on the right has called out Trump trying to get the government involved in buying portions of these gigantic companies to bring them over to the government side. They're the first people to be like, fuck you, we'll never be communists. And then Trump starts buying private companies with the government, and they're like, sounds good to me. That's wild, but whatever.
Came equipped with a quick wit and a sixth sense for the stupid shit. Where my true believer? Y'all need Jesus. Praise the Lord, head to the extreme. All these false fucking prophets who profit off of gossip. Worshipping drums, cocking, begging for a throat deposit. Swinging fucking meat hammers like fool in a thong. He's strapped to the shaft, eating his chest like he's King Kong. Starving for attention, I'm gonna make your gut burn.
Oh, I still haven't showed the DUI arrest of the ICE guy. The super racist ICE guy with his kids. Well, somebody remind me to show that on the next show. We'll talk about it.
Best climbing up 5G towers cause you told him if
Imagine this. One of the first questions he asks is if the other cop is Haitian. You from Haiti, bro? Well, you're driving drunk, so what the fuck does that matter? Piece of shit.
Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss him off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in them beds, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. I used to find clues too when I was high on shrooms. I found myself a tunnel that led to Jason Q's bedroom. Open his closet, I found some of his meat rockets. I strapped it to my shoes and then I flew through the roof. I found myself in orbit strapped to an F-16. High on amphetamine, with Trump in between. Put on a light coat of baby oil and saluted the troops. He tapped me on the shoulder and said, this is gonna be it. Whoa, wait. Stop. What? I'll get my files. Wait, what are you doing? Stop. Hold on. Fucking stop. Dude, come on. Seriously. This is my mom's an alcoholic. Give me oh my God. Damn it. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in them beds, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Round 3. Down goes Nina.
Have a good night, guys. Yeah, they killed someone's dog, too, at the wrong house after they went out of their way to put the dog up. ICE entered the house, opened the bathroom door, a dog came out, and they shot it dead and just left while the family was watching their dog bleed out, trying to give them life-saving aid. Fucking disgusting.